Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Council on Future Conflict, episode 595. We're talking the Afghan terror in America and American color revolution. Before we start the show, Joe, Watcher, I'd just like to say happy Thanksgiving to you guys and to all the other folks out there. I know it's the day after, or the, what is it, Black Friday, right? That's what they call Friday after Thanksgiving. So hopefully you guys are getting some deals and whatnot out there on the internet and whatnot. Does anybody actually go shopping in actual Black Friday sales anymore?
Are you serious right now?
The days of going to Best Buy for a $500 TV are kind of over, right? I just want to double check.
No, I guarantee you there'll be videos of ludicrousness in stores today. Because here's the thing. You can't shoplift if you don't go to the store.
Yeah.
Yes, people still go to the store for Black Friday sales. Yeah, it's going to be a wild day out there. But I would tell everybody this. If you are going shopping today, you need to have your head on a swivel because the risk is not what it was 2 weeks ago, right? You need to really be paying attention and be safe. There's a lot of folks who wait for you to come out of your store and decide to take your things from you. So pay attention to that. It's going to be interesting. And I know that Mrs. Tactical Wisdom has to go to work today in it. So we all wish her well and safety.
Did you armor her up? Make sure she had at least a soft stab proof vest on or something like that.
Well, she hasn't gone yet. We're not there yet, so maybe. Although there was a very significant delay in me getting deviled eggs yesterday, so she might just be on her own. She might be on her own. But bless her heart, she did make them before the holiday was over.
And, my daughter took part in the McCullough family. My oldest, she's in Louisville for the holiday, and she took part in making part of the traditional McCullough family Thanksgiving dinner. She did. What would she do? Corn, some sort of corn. I can't remember what it was. So it's some sort of it's not just like boiled corn. It's like
your mom told me there was some special name for the corn that she made that other day. So
that's I for a long time I was just kind of like but it's pretty good. And so my daughter made that. So that's one of her her Thanksgiving specialties. There's certain types of Thanksgiving things that people only do at Thanksgiving that I don't understand why you just don't eat it year round. Because
I know, like things like green bean casserole or
green bean casserole is a perfect example of something
you can literally make it any day of the week.
You could have that with steak, like mashed potatoes, steak, and green bean casserole. I mean, come on, that's a perfectly great meal right there.
Well, during dinner last night, I said to everyone that they sell stuffing year round. Why do we only have stuffing one day a year, right?
So let me ask you this. I've never been of the opinion that turkey doesn't taste good. But there is clearly there is a lot of people out there that are like, turkey is not a tasty bird.
False. That is false and salacious and anti-American.
Yeah, turkey is dry. That's objective.
Turkey is dry if you cook it that way.
I've had good turkey before. I've had dry, shitty turkey before too. So
listen, flip the turkey over. Oh my God, what? No, it has a back. You're supposed to cook it on its back. Flip it over. I guarantee you, your turkey will not be dry.
I freely admit that the breast is way better than the dark meat.
Again, false. But
because I eat both. Don't get me wrong. I just prefer the white meat on the breast on turkey. And
but listen, though, if your turkey is consistently dry, you're cooking it wrong. So
now, Derby pie is something I think you can get behind all year round. I mean, let's be honest. In Kentucky, it's a May thing. Goes along with the Kentucky Derby. So like April and May is where you see those mostly. But it in the McCullough household, it was always made around racist. Scott, that's true. I probably am. I just
I
not
need a
aware of it.
report back from Be Prepared on his attempt at Derby pie. I would like to hear how it goes, because I am closely guarding the McCullough family secret that I have been entrusted with. I did not share it, but we have that recipe. Me and Washer both. So
does your wife have it? Has she tried it yet?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
she had some of the leftover ones this year, and she was like, "I need to know how to make this." I'm like, "Good news, I've got it."
I've got it. That's right. Oh boy. Anyway, so Thanksgiving, a uniquely American holiday, and I'm glad, with the exception of what we're going to talk about today as our main topic. Seems like everybody I know at least had a good Thanksgiving. Watcher, how are you doing today?
I'm sorry.
Doing all right. Doing all right. A little tired, but here and ready to go, man.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Not gonna lie to you. It's stressful but good. The wife got sick the day before, so I ended up having to do a lot of the taking care of children and ferrying people around and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it ended up being okay. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted because I on my second screen I just found video of topic 1 and I hadn't seen the actual video before.
I'm still struggling with the rabbit hole I fell down while we were in backstage talking about the Guinea-Bissau.
Oh, right.
the camo, the drip.
Yeah.
We. By the way, our lead story today, and we could jump right into this, I guess, to forestall any other kind of
wanderings,
chatter between us. That's right. So, if you want, a uniquely CFC story occurred the other day, and that is the soldiers see power in Guinea-Bissau and detain the president. So, if you don't know, Guinea-Bissau is a African country next to Guinea, over there kind of by Mali, if I remember correctly, in the Sahel belt, which kind of goes laterally across the thick part of Africa in the middle of the Sahara. Let's say a group of military officers say they have seized control of Guinea-Bissau amid reports that President Umaro Sissoko Imbolo has been arrested. I'm sure I said that wrong, but it doesn't. But nobody else knows how it's pronounced either.
He'll be dead in a week, so it's not going to matter.
Exactly right. Here today, gone tomorrow. Shortly after gunshots were heard in the capital, Bissau government sources told the BBC that Imbolo had been detained. The officers then appeared on state TV, said that they had suspended the electoral process, and the West African nation awaited the outcome of Sunday's presidential election. They were acting to thwart a plot by unnamed politicians who had the support of a well-known drug baron to destabilize the country. Well, this has got it all. It's got drug dealers and corrupt politicians and voter fraud, and you name it.
They even have a candidate named Adolf Hitler.
Is this where that one?
I'm not sure. I'm double checking right now.
Let's see. They were acting to thwart a plot by unnamed politicians. Let's see. They announced that the closures of the borders impose a nighttime curfew sandwiched between Senegal. Okay, that's the one it's next to. And Guinea, the coup-prone country, is known as a notorious drug trafficking hub where the military has been influential since independence from Portugal in 1974. Uniformly, the countries that came from the Portuguese sphere of influence are the worst colonial countries. I think it's almost like the Portuguese were the worst colonial, the worst colonial masters ever. The election results were expected Thursday, but Embalo and his closest rival, Fernando Dias, had claimed victory. Dias was supported by former Prime Minister Pereira, who had been disqualified from running. Late on Wednesday, Embalo told France 24 in a phone call, "I've been deposed." Government sources have since told the BBC that Diaz, Pereira, and Interior Ministry Kandi have also been detained. The parachutists, the pushists, have taken Army Chief, let's see, Inten, his deputy, General Tour, and into custody as well. In a joint statement, the leaders of the election observation mission from the African Union at the West Bloc of ECOWAS expressed deep concern with the announcement of the coup d'etat by the armed forces. They said the country had been prepared for the announcement of the electoral results. It's regrettable that this announcement came at the time as the missions had just concluded meeting with the two leading presidential candidates who assured us of their willingness to accept the will of the people. The irony here, Joe, is that there is actually way more likelihood that the people who took over the country via coup are 100% less corrupt than the people who were on both sides of the election and the senior military leaders. They were all probably part of this generational corruption racket and drug running operation in that country.
Yeah, you know what? I would be interested to see what sort of contacts these generals had with folks from, say, the neighboring states there, right? Nigeria. Where's Ferrari at? Why am I drawing a blank on Ferrari's country?
Burkina Faso?
Yeah, Burkina Faso, Mali, all these others that had them, and see if there was a bigger swing. For the record, the guy named Adolf Hitler was in Namibia, and what makes even more sense is he's a member of the SWAPO political party. And if you recall, the South African border war was against SWAPO and the ANC. So interesting.
Yeah, SWAPO. I forgot about those guys.
Hey, guess who they got their support from and probably still do? People who speak Chinese.
Yes, indeed. I think we've kind of covered this one to death. I mean, though, I guess the one thing that we could do is maybe bring up this picture. Let's go back up to the top and bring up this picture. Now, Joe, let's just kind of talk about, like lean into your drip, African coup drip fetish that you've got here.
There are no two guys in the same uniform here.
Exactly right. And the guy with gear on has different colored gear from his uniform. So, I mean, it's like, you theoretically have 5 patterns on 4 people.
Yeah, right. It's pretty interesting. It's like we got one DPM light. We've got some fake marpat, fake desert marpat, and then some sort of lizard pattern in the back. So, apparently, you just buy your own uniforms there.
This general here in the front looks like he's got what is it, Cad Pat with a little tan sprinkled in it.
It does look more like Cad Pat. You're right. What's interesting though is I always love this about African militaries. They get some pretty darn good and effective camouflage, and then they emblazon it with red and yellow constantly, which defeats the entire purpose. By the way.
Yeah. You're on to something there. But
this is a former Portuguese colony, so it'd be interesting to see what Portugal has to say about it.
Bobby Johnson says, fun fact about me, I had to do a project on global warming senior year, and I chose Burkina Faso. I argued about how global warming would be great. Environmental teacher was not amused. Now, I mean, if you live in Canada, I mean, you're probably all for global warming. I'm just saying.
This is Delaware.
No, I'm not. Well, Delaware might be good for them too. I'm just saying. The government in Delaware is very Canadian-esque. So, all right. I got my
Big boy says he is all for. He's all for global warming.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'd be all for it today because it's still snowing and it's not very warm. So.
He makes Caravaggio makes a good point that the only place I've seen that many mismatched camos is in a lobby for, Call of Duty or something like that. All right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Moving
on.
All right. Cartels are scrambling as fentanyl precursor supply from China dries up.
Shucks. Sorry to hear that.
Bear with me here, Watcher. As soon as I pull it up, I had to have a freaking archive link. Because for you, I guess it's free, but for me, it's behind a paywall.
No, it wasn't free. I just found a way to kill their thing, but I just realized that it made it so I can't scroll down now.
Yeah.
Clever.
I don't know why the archive link is. Okay, come on. If you get an archive link before I do, just give it to me. So, while we wait on that, I don't know what's like. There you go. See, can you drop it in the private chat for me? Thank you. Oh, stand by, guys. I just realized something here.
We have been standing by.
Stand by to stand by.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm back. Now, I'm sorry. I just realized that my VPN was on, and that was what was causing me not to be able to get to the archive link. So, all right. Cartels are scrambling as fentanyl precursor supply from China dries up. Oh, my God. So let me get this straight. China is actually keeping their word on this?
I was equally shocked.
Let me just point out that it says FBI director says. This may come as a big shock for you all. Kash Patel is not entirely known for his honesty.
That's exactly right. All right. FBI Director Kash Patel has said that the Beijing shutting off exports of fentanyl precursor chemicals. Cartels in Mexico, Venezuela, and Colombia are scrambling to find alternatives, and there aren't any. We know where they are. We know who they are, and we know how they do it. And we surveil and monitor and investigate these folks. We see that they are complaining about not having the necessary ingredients and mechanics to make the fentanyl. Patel said in an interview, exclusive interview airing on Epic TV, this is an immediate impact that they haven't complained that, that is an immediate impact that they haven't complained about in years.
I got to stop you right there because we have to talk about that ad because Derna brought it up. Who would decorate their room with that photo?
That's an award-winning painting, my friend.
I mean, wow! It looks like the feral kid from Mad Max.
I know, right? A more racially accurate feral kid from Australia. In early November, Patel traveled to China for a meeting on the logistics of how Beijing would make good of its agreement to curb fentanyl precursors export after the China-U.S. bilateral meeting in South Korea. It resulted in an export ban on 13 fentanyl precursors and 7 additional chemicals. Domestically, the FBI under the Trump administration is cracking down on violent crime in what Patel describes as a sea change in approach. Joe, I think the fentanyl crisis that China, let's be honest, China was absolutely 100% behind the manufacturing of that crisis in the United States. That's the closest thing that I think America could literally point to. And if they laid out all the intel about where they come from and who was processing it and where the orders came from, especially if they've got that kind of intel, that would be like the most obvious smoking gun to an act of war that China has done against the United States.
Actually, this fact that them reaching an agreement and then the supply of the drugs shutting off almost instantly is an indictment of China. It tells
100%
that they knew 100% where this was coming from and were sending it. On a side note, the next paragraph is actually vitally important for everyone because it's the exact opposite of what they were supposed to do. By empowering local offices and increasing FBI staffing nationwide. That's the exact opposite of what they were elected to do, for the record.
I just didn't see that. Oh, domestically, the FBI under Trump administration is cracking down on violent crime in what Patel describes as a sea change in approach by empowering offices and increasing staffing nationwide. The result is 30,000 arrests this year, including 25,000 violent offenders, or twice as many year to date, and a sharp drop in the murder rate, according to the FBI director. The irony there is you could argue that the effects that they're having are what we voted for, but no.
Dramatic. The effect that I voted for is the abolishment of the FBI.
Well, right. I see where you're going with that.
They both literally said they were going to do that, and they have both did the opposite.
Yeah, they've expanded the manpower. Did you see that those all those 87,000 IRS agents got basically laterally moved over to like ICE,
other law enforcement jobs? Yeah. You still got all the feds.
Yeah, they're just doing different things. All right. Some of these priority missions, fentanyl, human trafficking, and financial crimes, require international cooperation. And anyway, it goes into the global fentanyl thing. I'm just trying to get.
We've worked brilliantly with our partners in India. Gosh, we did a great job.
Patel had engaged with the Chinese law enforcement in fentanyl from 6 months before making the trip through phone calls and video calls. He had also resulted in a few fentanyl precursors being restricted from export on September 1st before Beijing issued a wider restrictions on November 10th. We were successfully able to shut off all 13 precursors that make fentanyl and regulate fully 7 additional chemicals that alter fentanyl to make it more lethal. Make it a more lethal and addictive drug. Patel noted that Beijing's cooperation is tied to a reduced fentanyl tariff, 10% instead of 20%. On ongoing communications are in place. Now, did I read that right? That basically we'll let you bring in Chinese fentanyl, through normal channels if you cut off the precursors. Is that how? Did you guys hear it that way?
Is a medical drug used in procedures. So
no, I got that. I'm just saying it's just kind of like I don't.
Well, I'll tell you the other funny shoe I'm waiting to drop here. It's the same game China's played almost every time we end up pinning them down on something. Waiting for 10 times as deadly as fentanyl, schmentanol, which happens to be made with slightly different precursors, to begin to pop up on the market within the next 6 to 8 months.
Or for fentanyl shipments to begin arriving from Malaysia or Vietnam or wherever in Mexico.
Yeah, like the precursors just go through a circuitous route to get back to.
Just like we did when we banned the use of Chinese-made solar panels. All of a sudden, they were made in Vietnam or Malaysia, and they were the exact same solar panels, right?
Yeah, I'd look for either one of those to happen. I mean, probably both, to be honest. Remember that fentanyl itself is a relatively modern in synthetic opioid invention.
Yeah.
And it comes out of a lot of the that itself came out of a lot of the unregulated labs in China.
All right. Moving on. Next one, President Trump. Let's see, CNN story. I always hate having to read a CNN story. President Trump says U.S. land action against alleged drug traffic networks in Venezuela will start very soon. Now, if it's CNN whining about things that President Trump are doing, I'm okay with that. President Donald Trump suggested Thursday that the United States is preparing to take new action against alleged drug trafficking networks in Venezuela, telling service members during Thanksgiving call that efforts for strikes on land will be starting very soon. In recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are many, of course. There aren't too many coming by sea anymore. You probably noticed that people aren't wanting to be delivering by sea. And we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warn them, stop sending your poison to our country. I tell you, that sounds, I mean, Trump is not known for like spouting off, like saying like, we're going to do something, right? Unless they generally do it. Kind of like with the the dropping the bombs on Iran.
I think Trump watched Clear and Present Danger and was like, that looks like a cool idea. We could do that.
I think you're right. I think that's This is one part like what is it what was it what was the Panama mission? What was it called?
Just Cause.
Yeah, this is one part Just Cause, one part Clear and Present Danger is what this is looking like. Let's see. Trump's comment suggests that he's made up his mind on a course of action in Venezuela following multiple high-level briefs and a mounting U.S. show of force in the region. Trump designated Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his government allies as members of a foreign terrorist organization earlier this week. I did not catch that, actually, naming them separately.
Yeah. No, I mean, like they said they were going to do it weeks ago, and then the official declaration popped up in the books last week.
The designation of Cartel de los Soles, a phrase that experts say is more of a description of an allegedly corrupt government than an organized criminal group. Yeah, that actually kind of makes sense, but it's a branding, right? You want to brand your bad guys as one thing. Now, Joe, I heard an interesting legal opinion that basically said if he wants to invade a country, he's got the War Powers Act, but that's it, right? And then you have to vote in Congress after what is it, 60 days, 40 days, something like that.
60.
But with military action against an ongoing criminal conspiracy and terror organization, there are different laws that come into effect. Now, I was like, I don't know about that, but then again, I'm not a.
There are, because if he could show that there was an imminent threat and that threat was on its way directly to the U.S., action could be taken without any approval.
Right.
For example, a boatload of drugs that could kill Americans that does meet that criteria. It's an authorization after 9/11 saying, hey, look, man, if we got a plane that's coming in that can't identify itself, what are we going to do to it? We're going to shoot it down. That's just what we do. This is no different. This is just an extension of it to drugs. It's a little bit longer of a road from action A to action B, like the drugs entering the country and someone dying, but it's still the same road, right? By the way, Major Sarge said just reciprocity, and that's perfect, right? Like taking just cause and reciprocity and putting them together.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right. CNN reported earlier this month that Trump administration officials told lawmakers in a classified session that the U.S. was not planning to launch strikes inside Venezuela and doesn't have a legal jurisdiction that would support attacks against any land targets right now. So that's where I think this tying the Cartel de la Sol and to a foreign terrorist organization, that's where they start to build that, that alibi, that the justification, a legal justification to be able to take action inside the actual borders of Venezuela. And then, Joe, if you're going to go hit this target well inside Venezuela, I mean, you got to blow up all the other stuff that potentially could threaten your people when you're going to do that mission. So
Suppression of enemy air defenses.
That's exactly right. So all that brand new, freshly imported Russian air defense stuff turns into smoking craters. Better
hope there's no Russian repair technicians there when it happens.
Well, Joe, 7 years ago, I would have rated the Russian air defense stuff as a lot higher. But after the failures in Libya, and everywhere, I haven't seen Russian stuff work really well, especially in the air defense arena. Since then, I'll be honest with you, I don't feel like
that's on the operator, not the equipment.
I think you might be onto something there. But the problem is I think it's less of a individual system thing, and I think they're integrated. It's like the threat that the American air defense provides is not that it's like the Patriot missile is a great missile. It may be or it may not be. I'm not an expert. But it's the network, right? The integrated network that makes it a real threat. And I just don't think. I think that's the weakness of the Russian system.
I don't think anyone else have it. I think Russia itself has it, but I don't think that when they export it, Syria or Libya or Venezuela
right,
running the network the way they should. Perhaps Cuba, but not really. I don't know. Interesting point.
I think Cuba's falling by the wayside as a tier one partner of the Soviet Union.
For example, the Patriots aren't having the impact we thought they might have in Ukraine either. And again, that's no integrated network and operator error. You have operators there who refuse to be trained. Like, why does the AK-47? Why is it the most popular rifle in the world? Not because it's great, but because it's very, very simple to use, and you can
reliable.
teach a farmer how to use it. Right.
Exactly right. All right. That's about it there. So I would say that we're getting close to the window, probably in the next 2 weeks. If you don't see something happen in Venezuela in the next 2 weeks, I would start to say that you're not going to anything at least until maybe after the new year.
Today's Friday of a holiday weekend. This is the most likely day.
Well, right. Like I said, I think if it doesn't happen in the next 2 weeks, then that's when I start thinking it most likely won't happen over the Christmas holidays, and maybe not even New Year's. So then you're looking at January. And the only issue there, Joe, is that every day you got all those Marines and Navy concentrated in that beautiful yet fairly uncontested part of the world. You're paying for something that's very expensive.
And the longer they stay out there, the more expensive it gets. So.
Exactly right. Because you have to kind of continue to resupply, and then you've got, after a while, certain boats will have to go back, and then new boats will have to come in and I don't know about the Marines as far as how long they can kind of chill out in a given piece of sea. I don't know if there's additional support.
I can recall being at sea for 9 months, but
no, but you guys were moving around and going port to port, right?
Negative. Directly off Monrovia, Liberia, then directly off Mogadishu.
Okay. But that still is not cheap. All right.
Oh, that's a great. Major Sarge points out that the FAA NOTAM that was issued last weekend for Venezuela lasts until 19 February. That was an important thing, and I put it up on my locals. We didn't really talk about it on our show. The NOTAM that popped up on a Friday evening that said that air travel in this region is now hazardous, and it extended not just from Venezuela, but all the way out to the Dutch base in Aruba, the French bases around where our Navy ships are deployed, and then back into Venezuela. It covers the entire deployment zone. So that might tell you something.
Yeah. And it probably goes into Colombia as well, I would imagine.
I think it's both sides, a little bit into Colombia and a little bit into the Essequibo region of Guyana. I want a radio all the way to the ground.
Nobody hears that radio.
Crap.
All right. Let's go into our last one here, shall we? So I wanted to talk about this, guys, because I'm sure you've been watching the back and forth. So
this is moronic, by the way.
The Firearm Policy Center and Gun Owners of America have been doing a really good job of pointing out how anti-firearms owner, they're basically saying that the NFA is like, oh, we need to keep the NFA. It's a legit, a 0% registration tax is really a tax. No,
it's a registration.
Well, no. What they're saying is they can keep it because it's really a tax. Because if it's just registration,
I understand that, and that's why I said no. It's actually a registration. I'm not nearly as dumb as I'm made out to be, man.
No. I didn't think. I thought that I said it the wrong way, and you were. Anyway, point is that GOA has been doing some good work on this. The Firearm Policy Center has been doing some good work on this, and so basically the Attorney General and the DOJ has been taking it on the chin, and so then they basically say. We took decisive action today to protect the Second Amendment by filing a brief in Supreme Court challenging Hawaii state law that effectively bans, concealed carry or personnel carrying of weapons. And this is such a kind of just throwing a little bone to firearms owners. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, we're pro Second Amendment. Look, this is what we did to show that. No, all that is them trying to, placate, gun owners to make us think that they're doing something that they aren't. They're literally doing the opposite of what
would actually save money and save time and make all of us happy? Instead of adding a new federal agency to fight the ATF, why don't you just get rid of the ATF?
The ATF, that's exactly
that would save all kinds of money.
Let's see. And then Gun Owners of America, this is great right here. In the past week, Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Justice Department have supported national gun registration, demonized machine guns, called guns weapons of war, expanded government power over the Second Amendment, and said SBRs are for criminals. Filing this brief is great, but these actions are unacceptable. That's exactly right. You can't allow them to kind of dangle something in front of you to try to get out from underneath it. Let's see. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act zeroed out the tax on many items regulated by the National Firearms Act, including silencers, AOWs, and short barrel firearms. But the NFA's registration requirement remains. That's because the ATF previously needed to keep records of who paid the tax for any given firearm. Now that the tax is zero, it's not a tax at all. We're arguing that the registration requirements for these items should be thrown out as unconstitutional and unnecessary. After all, can the federal government really throw you in jail for not paying a $0 tax on a firearm? But the Department of Justice says they oppose that because, let's see, to make matters worse, the DOJ did so by using the same language as anti-gun groups like Everytown and the Brady, At one point even referring to those types of firearms as weapons of war, a phrase exclusively used by anti-gun politicians. I don't understand why people would, and I've seen several conservatives do this, is to try to go to bat for Pam Bondi, saying, hey, she's doing good things on other stuff, so give her a break on this. I mean, this is the thing that you never give them a break on.
I told everyone on day one, and people told me I was wrong, including some people in the chat, when I said Pam Bondi is absolutely the worst pick for Attorney General because she is horrible on the Second Amendment and has always been anti-gun. And everyone told me how wrong I was, and yet it's working out exactly the way we said it was going to. Bondi is actually not good, and it's silly. But let me just say something. We need to stop being opposed to them using the term weapons of war, because the Second Amendment is not about hunting or sport shooting. It's about war.
Facts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with you there. The only caveat I'd put on that is that that's a term that's almost exclusively used by the modern left in order to demonize.
I understand that, and we allow them to. And what I said was, we need to stop running from it and hiding from it. We don't disagree here. I know. I just it's.
The second thing that I'll say about that is imagine being a viewer of our show and betting against Mr. Joe Dolio. That's fucking bold move.
Well, I'm happy to say that I don't think Joe got any kickback from anybody in these areas. Like, at least our chat and the members of the council were 100% in agreement with him. You know, the one thing if I remember that I foolishly remember the discussion we had, Joe. Well, Pam Bondi's a fucking nightmare, but at least we got Kash Patel, man. That guy's going to hold her feet to the fire, you know, from the FBI.
I don't recall I have ever said that in my life.
No, I said that. I said that. Because I was pretty happy about him. I thought he said all the right things. You know, it's like, well, you know, we have to see, you know, like somebody from Missouri might say, show me. But at the same time, he says all the right things, and he'll be able to keep her, you know, on. And then, of course, he's completely folded like a cheap suit. And she is continuously shown her anti-gun chops since day one. Let's see. And the most egregious part, they don't have to do this. In Washington, D.C., the U.S. Attorney General, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro has decided not to enforce D.C.'s ban on high-capacity magazines, arguing it is the United States position that the D.C. magazine ban is unconstitutional, which Jeanine Pirro needs to be the fucking sick. I mean, it couldn't get any worse than it already is. And then it says here, this DOJ spokesperson is wrong. This is another tweet from Gun Owners of America. Congress and the NFA cannot override the Constitution and the Second Amendment. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro is refusing to enforce D.C.'s unconstitutional magazine ban. The Justice Department should do the same with the NFA. This is exactly right. They should basically say, we're going to stop processing NFA. You know, these will all now be able to be bought like a regular firearm using the standard. You know, if it's a firearm like a SBR or like an automatic weapon, and if it's a suppressor, it's just it's not even a firearm. It's just an accessory, just like a scope or something like that. And they could literally just say that's how we're going to enforce the law.
If it wasn't for the ATF, OSHA would mandate suppressors.
100%. Especially for cops and things like that. And now that they've got those like much smaller suppressors, you know, Joe, like it used to be back in the day, a pistol suppressor was this long. So it made your pistol twice as long. And it was a little unwieldy with holsters. But now they've got those suppressors that are a little fatter, you know, and they're only like, what, about 3 inches long now?
Well, I mean, let's let's not kid ourselves. Gun designers would start designing these to be integrated because it's far easier to design them to be integrated. It's just nobody
Right.
wanted to do that in the past because it limited your sales market to like what,
You'd have to be
1,000 people.
You'd have to have a tax stamp just to buy a handgun or a rifle, And if it's an SBR with a suppressor, it's a two-stamp gun. Let's see. As it stands, let's see. And when Texas sued the Trump administration after Congress reduced the Obamacare penalty to zero, the DOJ declined to defend the law, instead joining Texas's side in the court. Why couldn't Pam Bondi's DOJ decide not to defend the NFA? She could, and that's why gun owners are so upset. Pam Bondi and the DOJ made conscious decision to defend federal gun registration. When Pam Bondi was elected to Attorney General, Gun Owners of America sounded the alarm. We warned that she was responsible for pushing gun control in Florida. There was a chance that she would not take a hard stance for the Second Amendment. As it stands, we were correct. This isn't new either. Since Pam Bondi was made Attorney General, the Department of Justice has been fighting against the GOA, preventing us from securing judgments in our cases against the Biden administration policy, which would in turn keep gun owners safe from future infringements. Instead, the Department of Justice has attempted to moot our cases, arguing that there's no basis of thinking that the ATF would return to their past behavior. Joe, what is the best indicator of future behavior? Past behavior, right?
Behavior, yes.
Let's see. All right. Anyway, I thought that was an important kind of thing to bring. I know we have a lot of firearm owners in the audience, and in order to kind of be prepared for things in the future, you've got. I'm sorry, I made the mistake of reading the chat. I'm totally off my game now. This is the kind of thing, like, a lot of these things, whether it's a suppressor or a short barrel rifle, these all have, niche, you could argue that they're niche products. I'd say a suppressor, if suppressors were regulated like any other firearm accessory, I'd probably have one on every one of my firearms. But these are still tools that are important to be able to be prepared for, various types of scenarios that could come at you. And Joe, looking at our main topics for today, I feel like every day we're getting closer to these scenarios being more and more likely.
Unfortunately, I have a different opinion than you on that. I think that if it's time that I need to go loud, I need everyone on earth to know that I went loud. So.
Yeah. That's fair. I'm
one of the rare people who's honest about life, and I know I'm not going to be sneaking into an enemy compound and need silenced firearms. I'll be honest about it.
I was just thinking, like, home defense and just kind of like family defense.
Again, if I'm defending my home, I need my neighbors to know I'm defending my home, and they can come and help me.
Your neighbors are a lot further away than mine.
Yeah.
All right.
I want them to know I'm shooting at them. They need to know I'm shooting at them.
Joe wants the loudener.
I want the loudener. I absolutely want the loudener.
You want the cone, the cone to go on there?
You can't possibly do more hearing damage to me than has already been done. So.
I feel like the fact that you have any hearing left, Joe, means you're not trying hard enough. All right, Joe, you want to talk a little bit about tactical-wisdom.com?
I don't know why, because it's not doing any good, but yeah, let's make it happen. Hey, if you want a great Christmas gift idea, a signed set of books from tactical-wisdom.com is a great place to start. You can find them there on the website. All the books are in stock right now. And if you happen to live in the greater Kalispell area, that neat little used bookstore downtown has some copies of my books on the shelf now. They have a local book section. hey, Deb or Dan, if nobody buys the current books I have, there'll never be another book. We got to have that get out there. And as CWSB points out, I do have a great Black Friday deal going on right now. If you buy a set of 5 books, I will send you a set of 5 books. Fantastic, right? What a great deal. Wonderful sale. But hey, buy some signed books, put them under the Christmas tree, give people the gift of preparedness. We also have training classes coming up, so check out the training courses tab. And then go and read that article and check it out and see how much good stuff is going on out there. I wrote a pretty good article about making good decisions. Like if you live in New York City where they hate self-defense and they hate homeowners, don't go out and confront a crowd of 100 because you'll be lucky to survive the encounter and the police aren't coming to help you. So check that stuff out. Enjoy it. There it is. Tactical wisdom.
Before we move on to our next segment, I have to say this before it goes on. Somebody in chat says Flash Unhider, and I have to say that is a thing. It's called a Draco with a chopped down barrel.
Draco, accurate to 30 feet.
with the pig snout on it, the crink with the pig snout. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the gun that I fired that throws the most flame is the Mosin Nagant. So.
Well, Joe, I was so disappointed to find out that that regular machine guns don't have the big flash like they had on the pulse rifles in Aliens. I was so disappointed by that. Yeah. Because you got to admit the flash on that movie just looked fucking cool. But it's fiction, of course.
Damn it, chat! Now you're gonna make me figure out how to put a set of Vance and Hines on a pistol, aren't you? Leave me alone.
By the way, I want to say thank you to Loki LARP who gifted 5 subs earlier in the show. Appreciate that. Keeping the chat peach or pink or whatever the color it is.
The Mosin Nagant. When you want to go shooting and start a forest fire all at the same time.
What's the old classic saying? I didn't ask how big the room was. I said I cast fireball.
Let's see. There was something I wanted to. Right here. I mean, I am from the government, and I'm here to help. I mean, I'm just saying.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand up when you say that.
Yeah, like the day when you said that, well, Trump wouldn't allow a color revolution against himself, so it can't possibly be happening. That was Pete Scott right there. That was Pete Scott.
Well, let's be honest. He wouldn't commit one against himself, but of course, he's not the one committing it. So,
That's what I said.
Well, no,
you didn't believe me.
I guess I was thinking, taking the argument from the standpoint of like, if he's such a fascist, I mean, like a color revolution couldn't work, but he's not a fascist, so it could fucking work.
The opinion that I'm an absolute moron. That's okay. I am most days.
You did in fact join the Marine Corps, so there is that.
All right. I mean, there is that fact.
Whoa!
Yo, hey!
I didn't know they came in 10 packs. Jeez.
Rich Turner 42 over on YouTube.
So that's the guy who we won't hear from him for weeks. Then he'll come in and drop something like this and then vanish.
That's exactly right.
Speaking of which, I'm
that's the savings from the brush beater store. Well done. Well done.
Nice.
Well, glad to hear the potatoes are in and safe, and hope you and the family had a wonderful holiday, man.
Now I know that 5% off the brush beater store is not a huge savings, but it definitely, like the stuff that he sells, 5% makes a difference.
It does make a difference. 5% of $2,500 is a lot of money. So.
So think about it this way: if you buy $1,000 worth of stuff, 5% less, okay, that's a good little $50, right? And on top of that, it ships for free. So, I mean, what's not to like?
I've got one tiny just y'all see this. It's like our little odds and ends that I'll slip in. Mostly just to get chat acting up. Chat, give me a 1 in chat if you believe the hype that President Trump's going to end the income tax, as he said yesterday, and give me a 2 if you, like me, do not buy the hype.
And give me a 3 if you think we should all not pay income tax this year.
Oh yeah, we shouldn't. Like flat out, we shouldn't. But
yeah, I don't even think he can get rid of it, even if he like absolutely wanted to and had every intention. I don't think he could. Yeah, 2.
He's running the mouth.
3. I know. I mean, I mean, maybe there's a way, but yeah. Well, here's the problem that I have with Trump, Joe, and probably my biggest complaint, and I'll keep this short, is that he is using the same tactics that we complained about Obama using, as far as ruling by executive fiat, right? What I would really like to see is for him to start sending bills to Congress, but we know how good Congress is. Nothing would ever get fucking done. So, I mean, I understand where he's coming from. That doesn't make it any better than when Obama did it. So,
correct.
All right. Hey, let's do the brush beater ad here real quick. All right. So tonight we're staring down the reality of terror attacks on the U.S. soil. I've said it a long time ago. We will start seeing terror attacks weekly, and then multiple times per week. Let's see, and the very real threat of a color revolution engineered right here at home. When the lights flicker and the bombs go off and the streets fill with paid agitators, you don't get a second chance. Enter our sponsor, Brush Beater Store, led by Matt, a.k.a. NC Scout, with the training and gear that keeps free men standing. In an age of sudden attacks and orchestrated chaos, Brush Beater's RTO course gives you secure off-grid comms to stay ahead of the blackouts and the checkpoints. The advanced RTO course teaches you to intercept enemy signals and wage electronic warfare because the side that owns the spectrum owns the fight. Tactical Combat Casualty Care, or TCC, drills you to stop catastrophic bleeding in seconds, whether it's a bombing aftermath or a street ambush. For fast, reliable hits under stress, we've got the Kyber Optics MDO, which delivers a closed emitter red dot with shake awake and 50,000 battery hour battle proven for low light terror scenes. Get trained and equipped at Brush Beater's Yanceyville, North Carolina facility, or hit brushbeater.store/collections/training or collections/optics. Use code CFC10 for 5% off courses, optics, medical care, medical equipment, everything. Orders over $100 shipped for free. Huge thanks to Matt at Brush Beater Store for keeping the Council on Future Conflicts on the air here. Go to brushbeater.store, punch in CFC10, and be the guy who's standing when the color revolution comes. Back to the show. All right.
Pinochet's helicopter tours does bring up a good point before we move on.
What's that?
He who controls the JDAMs controls the taxes.
I mean, there's see, that's the problem, right? It's like, do things that are unconstitutional or tyranny, right? I don't, that's I don't know that that's a better solution, but
I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying factually.
It is a solution. Yeah.
It is a solution. This is correct. All right. Allahu Akbar. DC National Guard soldiers identified as Afghan national who entered the U.S. during the Biden years. And this boy's got a fucking record to go with him. Let's see. They've confirmed the suspect of the shooting of the National Guard member is a 29-year-old Afghan national. Ramanullah Lakhanwal. His law enforcement officials told Galvez that the Lakhanwal entered the United States in 2021 during the Biden-Harris regime. Yeah, this Amy Mack. I tell you what I didn't need were like the close-ups of this guy's junk as he, laid in the. Yeah, so that picture right here, the color picture, people have zoomed in on him, and it's like he's naked, right? And so, it's like great. I didn't need to see that. All right, now it's been. So this is the Amy Mack post. It's being reported that the Islamic war cry Allahu Akbar was shouted. He was reportedly brought here in 2021. Multiple law enforcement sources, eyewitness confirmed that the shooter, an Afghan national, screamed Allahu Akbar while attacking 3 DC National Guardsmen near the Capitol. Witness descriptions revealed chilling jihadist indicators. Islamic beard, a hallmark of religious jihadists. Repeated shouts of Allahu Akbar, the signature war cry used in nearly every major jihadist attack. Let's see. For over a decade, we've warned that these are red flags that America refuses to see. Allahu Akbar means Allah is the greatest, not great. Greatest. Greater than your God, your laws, your country, and your life. It's tied directly to Islamic conquest theology and appears alongside Quran 9:33, which commands Islam to triumph over all faiths. It's been the shouting battle cry in nearly every major jihadist attack, including the 9/11, and there's just a list. It's not a prayer; it's psychological warfare. When witnesses heard the DC shooter screaming it in mid-firefight, they knew exactly what it meant: ideological intent. I guess it makes it easier if you're curious about why you're shooting at somebody. If you just came around the corner after the action began, if somebody starts yelling Allahu Akbar, that's a clear target indicator in my book.
Well, that was one of the questions that Sarah posed over the weekend. If somebody shouts Allahu Akbar, what do you do?
That's like they become a target, right? I mean, that's I have to say that if somebody shouts that out, like they come up on you and they say Allahu Akbar, that's basically the same thing as them pulling a knife out and getting ready to stab you with it, or pulling a gun out and pointing it at you. You have to assume the next thing that's going to happen is going to be an explosion. Yeah. Yeah, green on blue was a huge in Afghanistan. Yeah, I mean, so most of the guys who did that were vetted. They were people that you trusted, and then for whatever reason, the other side got to them. And a lot of times it wasn't like an ideological conversion. It was literally like, hey, we're going to kill your family. We've got your family. We're going to kill them unless you go and kill Americans. And because they're Muslims, they have this kind of fatalistic kind of way of looking at life, like, oh, well, I'll do this, and these Americans I'm working with aren't my family. They're not Muslims. Ultimately, I can kill them. If they kill me, that's fine. At least my family is alive, and I'll go to heaven. That's the rationale, even if you don't want to do it, right? Much less if you do want to do it. All right, going back to the story. Fox News sources reported the shooter overstayed his visa, was in the country illegally. You want to play the video there? Or not? Oh, is this just the?
Oh, I thought there was audio.
So. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it was a Fox News report or something. All right. Well, looks like after
that bus station. Look at the glass.
Yeah. This is just after the fact. It looks like. Earlier, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser described the attack of 2 National Guard members as targeted. West Virginia governor initially stated that both guardsmen died, but later clarified there was some conflicting information about their conditions. That's why you got to always,
show the least important part of the whole thing, right?
Yeah. Right.
It's a tragedy either way, and the attack occurred either way.
Yeah, and then one of them did die. The female died.
The other one is most likely going to die as well. I mean, just shot in the head with a .357 Magnum.
My understanding is he came up behind the guy and shot him first. and then only then did he shoot the woman. Lockwood Wall was arrested shortly after the attack. The FBI is now investigating as a possible act of terrorism. I don't think there's any question about that. The attack follows Democrats' escalation of hostile rhetoric against federal authorities for deporting illegal aliens and securing metro areas. Such rhetoric has already fueled assaults on ICE and Border Patrol agents. Given the shooter is an Afghan national and the incident is being examined as a potential terrorism case, attention is shifting back to a report from earlier this year in which former CIA targeting officer Sarah Adams had warned on the Sean Ryan show about 1,000 plus Al-Qaeda trained fighters who are within the U.S. borders. Shortly after, by the way, it's congratulations, Joe, on getting the Sarah Adams, follow there.
Yeah. In this whole exchange, Sarah Adams followed me back. So interesting.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Because I said that he was an enemy combatant and subject to summary execution. She was like, yes.
Yes, and this is correct.
But this whole incident proves to us that we learned nothing in Beirut in 1983.
Yeah. I saw you make that same point, Joe. Why don't you expand on that real quick?
In Beirut in 1983, the Hezbollah truck driver was able to make it through the Marine checkpoint because while they had their rifles and they had magazines in them, they didn't have a round in the chamber. And there was not enough time between the truck rounding the corner and the truck ramming into the building to chamber a round and fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so here again, we have troops carrying without a round in the chamber, which led to this. Terrible.
All right.
And so let me correct that too, because people have been saying, why weren't they armed? They were armed. They just didn't have a round in the chamber.
Yeah, and their weapons are holstered and so they would have had to rack the slide, take it off safety, rack the slide, and then engage. So,
and listen, for those of you who say you ought to be able to draw and rack the same thing, no, this case right here proves why you need to always carry with one in the chamber. And, let me. Watch said, if you carry an unloaded firearm, you are still unarmed.
Yeah, so this is all, and the other thing on top of it is you got to remember these are National Guard soldiers who maybe they sent them to the range for PMI and qualification prior to this duty assignment. But if they're qualified from earlier in the year, there's a very good chance that none of these soldiers had fired that weapon in potentially as long as 3 to 4 months. And most National Guard soldiers, I mean, MPs get a little more hands-on time with because they carry weapons on a daily basis, but most National Guard MOSs do not carry, especially lower enlisted, which both of these folks were. They don't carry handguns around on a regular basis unless they carry them in their civilian lives. Now, if you're a civilian law enforcement and a National Guard, then you're probably in a better position than somebody who's not. But they're also being given these ROEs exactly like what you just said, their weapon status. It needs to be on a green status or something like that. You know what I mean? There's no police force in the world that carries that without a round in the chamber. So I don't understand why. I don't know. That may not be true. The French may not. I don't know.
It's the biggest opinion in the world. You got to carry without one in the chamber. It's dumb.
All right. Let me see.
Let's see. For any of you curious, there's a reason why they refer to stuff like the 1911 as 7+1.
Right. And all these guys who told me when I said we should just shoot him, who are like, no, pump him for information. He doesn't have any. He doesn't know anything. This was clearly a single dude doing something. He has nothing of value.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think this is. I know a lot of people are saying this is a part of a broader attack that failed in the initial moments. No, I think this is one guy for whatever reason doing his own thing. But
I'm
I
not
think
saying
he is.
someone didn't point him at a target and send him on his way, but he doesn't know enough about that person's real identity to be of any value.
And he may have wanted to be part of a larger organization, but they probably looked at the guy and was like, listen, thanks, but no thanks. And so he's got no real actionable intelligence, I'm sure. Let's see. The optics here are not great for the Democratic Party's open border policies under the Biden-Harris regime, which facilitated a mass migration invasion into the U.S. The posturing of the military forces on streets in D.C. underscores the severity of the threat, and it's now clear that this was never just about clearing homeless encampments or removing drug addicts from the street corners. Politically, the incident gives Trump even more cover to accelerate his deportation campaign. It also continues a much-needed scrutiny of Islamicists and Islamist Marxists who seek to destroy the nation from within. Joe, would you make a distinction between those two groups, Islamicists and Islamic Marxists?
No, they're all the same.
They're basically all the same, yeah. Because the Marxists, they may not be the advocating for suicide bombings and things like that. But they're absolutely will carry water for the people who do. So
the only time I ever make that distinction is when I'm just giving a distinction between Maoist and Marxist. But other than that, there isn't one.
The Democrats are terrified the news cycle is about to turn on them. Will they suddenly be interested in the Epstein files again? Let's see. We don't need to talk about the West Virginia government getting that wrong. I think this is why you always have to be very circumspect if you are not in the primary chain of custody for information in those early hours. You just need to stand by and wait for the trusted sources.
Let me tell you this, though. The major, and it was a major, who whipped out his pocket knife and went to work on the terrorists here.
Yeah,
that guy's a hero. He deserves to be, as Watcher pointed out, promoted ahead of his peers. And
many have asked why he wasn't armed.
This incident will bring back knife training throughout the military.
Oh,
I know the Marine Corps still does it. I don't know if the Army does. But for all you guys who keep telling me knife training is obsolete, I'll just carry a gun. Hey, man, there are places you can't carry a gun. Right?
Can I just point out that it's too bad the gentleman didn't expire, because if he had, that would have made the major the first confirmed knife kill on U.S. soil since by an
enemy combatant.
Yeah, since probably the Revolutionary War.
Well, Civil War.
If he had a bayonet, you could actually give him a combat action badge, and he actually have used the weapon on the badge.
So good.
Yeah.
But so many are asking why he wasn't armed, and the answer to that is that he wasn't technically on duty. He was supposed to just be going around and observing the conditions of those who were on duty. So
yeah, I had heard he was basically checking in. Hey, how are you guys doing? You guys need anything? Blah, blah, blah. It's that kind of like an administrative kind of rounds. But, Joe, this goes to show that even when you're in the heart of DC, you need to be, if you're in the uniform, you need to be ready to take action.
You are in Indian country if you are not where you sleep.
Exactly.
And you need to be on that level of game, right? Be paying attention, head on a swivel. And move it. And I'll be honest, this guy was a major. He was probably like, I'm not strapping on a pistol today. I'm just going out here checking on my dudes, right? I got a driver who's armed. And then this happened.
I bet he's got it strapped on today.
I bet he does today. But I want to point out that our corner of Twitter has done a fantastic thing. And I know of at least 2 of the really good knife makers are trying to identify this major to put a good knife in his hand.
You guys going to have a new knife for every day of the week. It's going to be nice.
Yeah. Pretty legit. Yeah. By the way, if you want to learn knife fighting, I know a guy, and he's holding a knife fighting class January 23rd through the 25th right here at Camp Ponderosa. So come on out.
You go to taco-wisdom.com to find out more. Peanut Shade's helicopter tours for $5 says, I was activated for the Boston Marathon bombing. I stood on the streets of Boston as an 11 Bravo MOS armed with a yellow vest and my PC. If I drove a Humvee, I had to wear my Mitch while driving. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. The the last thing you want to do in American streets is to give an 11 Bravo a weapon. I mean, because that's the fastest way to get half the people in the street dead. I say, of course, that in jest, because of course I was 11 Alpha. Peter Shays Helicopter Tours for $1 says, went through Army 11B OSIT January, May 2010. We did no bayonet training. Well, I know we did bayonet training back then, but I'm surprised that you didn't do it at OSIT. I know that the bayonet assault course was still going on at the, for the OCS. Folks.
Hey, you know who does bayonet training? This guy. He's got a class going on January 23rd to 25th that includes bayonet training.
I know.
So Peter Shays, you could make that training up. That deficit in your record could get made up if you come to Camp Ponderosa to train.
Yep.
I know the Marine Corps was still training it in 06 for sure.
Marine Corps still trains it to this day as part of their. It's actually not so much for practicality, but because it's part of the warrior ethos to them.
Yeah, I think that's the best reason to bring it back to the Army too.
Range and aggressiveness, man.
Especially combat MOSs, but if you put it in basic, then everybody gets it.
And by the way, the last real bayonet charge was in 2008 by the British Marines. So it has happened in modern history.
Right. That's exactly right. That major should be getting a silver star. Yeah, I mean...
well, there's a lot that can be said about this story, and we have a lot of news stories to get into it. But Scott, I'll shut up so we can do this.
Corgi says for 1999 says it's payday. It's been a while since I hooked the boys up. Hey, thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
When money comes in and the super chats, it definitely it makes me feel like I don't do a good enough job when you guys pay.
And listen, everyone, go sign up for the Corgi Actual Substack. Good stuff.
Oh yeah. Corgi, drop the link if you can't. I think is Corgi a mod? Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Corgi. I think you could drop the link in the chat if you want to spam that out there. And if you can't, I'll have Watcher get it. Put it in there.
But gents, in regards to this story, on a scale of 1 to 10, how shocked would you be if I told you he was known to the intelligence apparatus?
What? Say it isn't so.
I know. He was on the radar.
Somebody said, wouldn't it be amazing if it turns out it was one of the guys that Tim Kennedy brought over in his project?
Oh God.
with Alex Soros' son. Remember that whole meeting on the meeting in the car and the runway? I'm like, and he was like, I was so, like I didn't want to meet this guy or whatever. I'm like, yeah, bullshit.
Yes, you did.
Patel says ex-CIA linked soldier, Afghan shooter now under terrorism investigation. Patel said agents. Yeah. Patel said agents seized numerous electronic devices, including smartphones, iPads, laptops, all of which are now being analyzed. When a reporter asked how the Afghan national was able to enter the country during the Biden-Harris years, Patel says, when the prior administration made the decision to allow thousands of people in without doing a single background check or vetting, that's how you miss every single sign. Let's see.
I would have thought, too, though, that we brought him in 2021. When 2022 rolls around and we're analyzing this Pakistani strike that killed his brother, we might have been like, this guy's brother was a high-level jihadist, enough to have been targeted by the Pakistanis. Maybe we should take another look at this guy.
Joe, you give them way too much credit for having any fucking idea what the right hand and the left hand knowing what each other are doing. I mean, like I'll be honest with you. I think that they were fucking clueless on this guy. They may have had his name on a list and they may have had some information about him, but they may not even have known the guy who came in was the same guy they had on that other list.
And I'll be honest, that was intentional. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't some kind of bureaucratic nightmare. They didn't look on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's one of those kind of things. If we look like we're incompetent, we don't have to ever explain it. Let's play this clip here. We'll let Kash Patel speak in his own words here. It's just at the top of the story.
Did you see that other tweet up there? Very interesting. He's from Bellingham, Washington. John.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. He's not from Bellingham. That's where his host family is from. And when you hear who his host family is, we'll get
that's where
into
he was
that
living.
shit.
Yeah.
One of the nicest places in Washington. Yeah, where
John Muhammad, the DC sniper, was from Bellingham, Washington, where he trained with the Muslim community there. That is well known for extremism.
Joe, DC headline reads Bellingham, man, Washington, man.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right, let's play this clip and then we'll move on down into the story.
Asylum, and if so, when did that happen? Under which administration? And did authorities miss any signs?
They were praying it would be Trump.
Or even back when he reportedly worked for the CIA. If you could talk about that.
Well, you miss all the signs when you do absolutely zero vetting. And that's exactly what happened in this case. When you, in the prior administration, made the decision to allow thousands of people into this country without doing a single piece of background checking or vetting, that's how you miss every single sign. And Secretary Kristi Noem has put out details specifically related to your other questions, so I'll let that speak for themselves.
Can I say something here? Look at this absolute clown and the way he's dressed. Okay, for a press statement of this level, he should probably just be in a suit and call it good. But look at him. He's look at how cool I am, everybody. I got my Joint Terrorism Task Force jacket. I'm out here investigating this crime myself. I had a magnifying glass in my hand a little while ago. Sorry y'all couldn't see that. The guy just
he's definitely very image conscious, for sure.
What?
Yeah,
the thing he could do to be most effective on his image would be to, I don't know, follow through with literally a single goddamn thing he said before he walked into the FBI.
Peter Shay's helicopter tour for $2 says, "Sorry, gents, but the FBI couldn't vet this guy. There were way too many, too busy targeting Catholics, parents, and school board meetings, and their political opponents to do it. 100%, 100%. And that gave them the cover to basically not have to do any of that stuff, right? Oh, well, he sent us a copy of his IED from when he worked for the U.S. government. And we have a letter from a special forces sergeant who worked with him, who trained him back in 2012 or whatever. So, yeah, he's good. No further vetting needed.
In the second season of The Terminal List, they addressed this issue. They had a solid Afghan special forces guy who was working with their SEAL team. And one day that guy went home to find the terrorists had his wife and kids and said, "You will wear this bomb into work tomorrow, or we kill your kids and you here right now." And he walked in and he bombed the dining hall. That happened way more often than we're willing to admit, right? And that's really all that it takes.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was talking about earlier. You know, it's like you've got these guys who generally want to be on our side, but you know, because they're Muslim, it makes it way easier for them to rationalize. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for, you know, and oh, by the way, I am a Muslim. I do believe this stuff. So ultimately, you know, nothing bad will happen to me if I do this, because no matter how much I like these guys, they're still infidels. Let's see. Hey, Watcher, what was that video you shared earlier? Was that the one?
Well, it appears to be from at least the aftermath of the incident.
Let's give this a look and see what happened here. I have not watched this video yet. So.
I think this is the one. I think this is
That's the other guy who actually.
I think it's the National Guardsman who arrived. Yeah, and that must have been our major with the knife then.
See, that one was actually in the act of firing. So
yeah,
so that must have been the major with the knife. This one.
Hey, is there any audio on this?
Just at the very end.
That guy did a smart thing, but he probably went too far. He had to stop it, right? and he took off to go and clear it. But I wouldn't have gone quite that
Well,
far.
Joe, I wonder if he pulled it, thought, went to shoot and realized at that point that he didn't have anything in the barrel and he had to get out of the line of fire in order to make his weapon ready, and then came back to the corner.
Could be. That's him
Is that-
firing
so-
that kill shot. Yeah.
Wow. All right, Lance Corporal Veteran, for $2. What do you think will happen when you hire e-celebs? Well,
Yeah. Your director and assistant director are both e-celebs. Wow. I'm watching the wind blow the giant pine trees over out the window and the snow coming down. Fantastic morning, Montana.
Derna for $5 over on Rumble says the media are telling you exactly who they are when they first thing they think of is one of our soldiers is murder on U.S. soil is how to make hay from it. Yeah, 100%. Don't ever ignore somebody when they tell you exactly who they are. All this,
They all convoluted themselves into pretzels trying to blame this on Donald Trump. Right, not the terrorists who shot them, but if they were back home in West Virginia, this never would have happened. No, it would have happened to someone else. The guy would have shot somebody else.
Yeah.
Understand where this comes from, too. At least my opinion is that a lot of that comes from that they can sense that the media mood towards them is souring after this incident, and so they're trying as hard as they can to deflect it so that they don't end up being the ones that get the shit thrown on them.
So this is I wanted to kind of pull from this Mike Benz quote. This is kind of interesting. Basically said, if you're wondering how CIA partnered Afghan militant ended up here, I'm trying to impress upon you that this is the norm, not the exception. And then he's got a post from an earlier thing he wrote. The point I keep driving at here is while there are, of course, political Democrats who want to import voters and commercial GOP donors who want cheap labor reasons for an immigration crisis, there are military and intelligence reasons that often loom even larger. The Somali immigration crisis in Minneapolis happened here because the Pentagon operations assisted by the CIA in Somalia. The Haitian immigrant crisis in Ohio last year happened because Pentagon ops assisted by the CIA in Haiti. The Venezuelan immigrant crisis happened because of Pentagon ops assisted by the CIA. The Afghan and Syria immigration crisis happened because Pentagon ops assisted by the CIA. In Afghanistan and Syria, the reason these programs politically can't be stopped is because at the military and paramilitary logistics level, they are ongoing operations. Yeah, this is exactly right? This is very common. I mean, Joe, I can't think of anything like this that happened after Panama, but I sure know for a fact that after Somalia, that's when Somalis all of a sudden started showing up all over America, specifically Dearborn, Minneapolis, these areas. Were inundated by them. I mean, I know in Louisville, when I was a waiter in the mid 90s, this would have been 97, 98, right? The dishwasher was this nice Somali lady, right? You know, she was very kind and, she was very pleasant. She didn't speak very good English, but, she was a hard worker and, everybody in the store, in the restaurant liked her. And she thought the chocolate cake was amazing, right? She's never had anything like that. And so it was we would always save her a piece of the chocolate cake if there was any left over at the end of the night, because she loved it and she couldn't afford to buy it. So, so, but that happened.
Random.
Yeah. I want to get to these.
Yeah.
All right. Two back-to-back $10 super chats. Man, you guys are blowing us up today. Thank you very much. Random PNW guy 84 says, if the guy is a known CIA asset, why do we assume he's not still being handled? The narrative has been set by those 6 Democrats to not follow illegal orders. Previous rhetoric has been National Guard deployments to cities are illegal. At least one of those Democrats was a former CIA, of course, still has contacts in the agency. Yeah. 100%. Right
We don't
now,
make that assumption that he's not. It's
right.
entirely possible that he is, but also that he's not part of a larger network. He's just one guy that someone sent to do one thing.
And he may have been frustrated. He may have been trying to get things from his CIA handlers that they weren't giving him. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he turned to something like this, right? I mean, you guys may have a different take on this, but this is just my take. This does not seem like an orchestrated attack. This seems like something like he got upset and he decided to go out with a blaze of glory.
I don't know that I agree, but
yeah. This is just my take. I have no idea
orchestrated versus sophisticated.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
We've seen several things like this where once you start digging, you find anomalies. Like the one that I famously like to point at is the man who was arrested right after Kamala Harris became vice president. They needed a narrative that people were out to kill her. So this guy gets arrested on a bicycle out in front of the Naval Observatory, which is where she lives, on a bike with a pistol. And they asked him why he was there, and he said he was there to kill Kamala Harris. Once you start reading the indictment, though, you find out they had him under surveillance, literally followed him from Denver, Colorado, all the way across the country to there, and waited until he was out front of her place with his cheap pistol he bought to arrest her so that it looked more dramatic in the news, right? They could have arrested him anywhere along the way, but did not. The minute he got into the vehicle and started traveling across country, he had committed the crime, right? He had done the attempt, right? But then when they started digging in, you find that there was some mysterious woman that nobody could really describe real well that he'd been hanging out with at the bar with. And he said, this woman said that if you really love me, you would do this for me. And she's never been found. Nobody knows who she was. But guess where she probably works, right? So I'm more of the belief that something like that is entirely possible with this guy. He was a useful tool for someone, and they pointed him in a direction, and he went there.
Yeah, and I can't find the example off the top of my head here. I've been looking in X, but I think it was last year, or maybe it was earlier this year, or maybe it could have been 2023, but I think it was 2024 when that the police officer gets shot by that Afghan. He was a former special operations guy. Oh, it was in Virginia. And he was a taxi driver, I think. Was he a taxi driver? But anyway, he was getting pulled over by the police, and he opens up.
Yeah, and they got in that running like manhunt kind of thing for the guy, right?
I can't remember. Let me see if here we go. Afghan man who shot. This is the Afghan man who shot two police officers in Fairfax County, Virginia, in April this April during a traffic stop, like the suspect in Wednesday shooting. Let's see, police killed while after he opened fire. So yeah, he got killed on the scene. So this is not the first time that a U.S. Special Forces or CIA related Afghan has had trouble. I mean, first of all, let's be honest. If you are anybody who's been involved in the kind of war that was going on in Afghanistan, and then you have to flee your country, you're going to be fucked up, right? And so that's the last guy I want to ever have a gun in the first place. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not saying an American doesn't, but he's not an American.
Let's go further back than that, man. I mean, like, this is not an insult, but like, have you ever met a guy who was involved in SF, even on our side, who wasn't batshit crazy? I've met several that are ice cold, right? Like they're just like,
I know a few that are pretty legit. But
I mean, like, I'll be honest with you, I've been in combat and I don't have any nightmares at all. Like certain people don't have a problem with it. Other people do say
nightmares. That's not what I'm. That's not what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about like the whole like. No.
I mean, like,
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was not what I was referring to. I'm not talking about PTSD. I'm just talking about like there's a generalized personality type that gets into SF, and there are some of them who are cool, calm, and collected, and there's a lot of them who are adrenaline junkies and like fucking like batshit crazy style people.
Yeah, I know, but those type of people generally don't commit crimes, right? I mean, they just, they don't hurt. They're more likely to hurt themselves other than to hurt other people. You know what I mean?
Although, let's point out the bombing of the truck, the cyber truck.
Just gonna say, Cybertruck.
Yeah.
I mean,
we still don't know what the fuck happened there. That's for sure.
we don't. But
well, we have a pretty good idea, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
He was already dead when that truck arrived.
Right. That's what I was trying to get at. Like, we don't know exactly. And then that means somebody like programmed that to get there. And I guess it could be him, but I don't know. Anyway, let's go. All right. So after all this, I'm going to skip this next one. Shut the fuck up. Let's see. Let's go to Trump's tweets in the aftermath of this event. First one here. First of all, can I just say, President Trump, we love you. We love you, but make these a little more less verbose. Let's see. Happy Thanksgiving. Salutation to all our great American citizens and patriots who have been nice in allowing our country to be divided up, disrupted, and carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with all the certain other foolish countries throughout the world for being politically correct and just plain stupid. When it comes to immigration, maybe I don't want it to be less wordy. The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million people, according to the census, most of which are on welfare from failed nations or from prisons, mental institutions, gang, or drug cartels. They and their children are supported through massive payments from the patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to openly complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. They put up with what has happened to our country, but it's eating them alive to do so. And a migrant earning $30,000 with a green card will get roughly $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. Their real migration population is much higher. The refugee burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America, something that did not exist after World War II. Failed schools, high crime, urban decay, overcrowded hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over our once great state of Minnesota. Somali gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as their wonderful people stay locked up in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both. What's funny is that Donald Trump calls Tim Walz retarded now, and the Democrats never even mention that at this point. It's like they are so
I think they're accepting of the fact that he is.
That he is, right? It's like we shouldn't defend a fact. All right. Let's see. Or both, while the worst Congress man/woman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab, probably came to the USA illegally, in that they are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain that about our country, its constitution, and how badly she is treated when her place of origin is a decadent, backwards, and crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for lack of government, military, police, schools, etc. Even as we progress technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal immigrants, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country. End all foreign benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, non-compatible with Western civilization. These goals will be pursued when the aim of achieving a major reduction of illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through the unauthorized and illegal auto pen approved process. Only reverse migration can fully cure the situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those who hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here for long. I mean,
there's a breaking update on this.
Oh, what's up?
That one might actually survive.
It looks like it. Yeah.
Let's see. I want to give everybody an update on our boy. We talked with a neurologist this morning, and he said that Andy is doing better than they imagined. He is reacting to stimuli and opening his eyes and trying to move around. They're making sure he's sedated to allow his brain to heal, so he's not feeling any pain. With that being said, though, we know that with a brain swell, it'll get worse before it gets better. But the neurosurgeon is hopeful that things are moving in the right direction. Andy has a long road ahead, and right now we are going hour by hour, but miracles are already occurring just with his progress he's making so far. Your prayers and love mean so much. Okay, so it looks like he's gonna pull through. He had a brain injury. But as we know from war, surprising. And if you get the right treatment, and I mean, I don't know where they took him, but Walter Reed is not far from where this happened. And it wouldn't, and back in the day, they had the best people at Bethesda, which is where I guess the new Walter Reed is at. They literally had the best brain trauma people in the world there back in the day. I don't know what it's like now, but I imagine there's pretty good ones there on staff. So that is very hopeful.
See, I want to bring that back up, Watcher, real quick. I want to point something out here. Stop it right there. A livid AG Pam Bondi says the Afghan national will get the death penalty if the troops don't make it out alive. No, that's wrong. He should get the death penalty either way.
No matter what. Right. That's exactly right. Exactly.
Yeah, and to be clear, Pam Bondi shouldn't have any fucking thing to do with this. He should be declared an enemy combatant and summarily executed.
Absolutely. He attacked soldiers in our capital. Something prompted this man to go all the way across the country. He could have targeted ICE agents in his own town or in Washington State or in Oregon. Or he could have stopped in Chicago to target National Guard soldiers. Instead, he went all the way to Washington, D.C., and all the way to within 2 blocks of the White House. There is more to this story.
Yeah. All right. To transition to our next topic, which is the color revolution, I want to go back to the first story. The first story on the first topic here. So when you open it up, if you go like about the bottom quarter of the story, you'll see a tweet by Mike Carr. Yeah, right there. If you look at just above that, that's where I'm going to write, because this is the perfect. Well, not the tweet. I'm going to talk about the story here right before this. Just a few days ago, 6 Democrats claimed that President Trump was issuing unlawful orders to the military and that troops must resist. So I didn't emphasize this when we went through the first time, because that line perfectly segues us into Data Republicans kind of investigation that she does.
I want to point out something too that points to that before you get started on that.
Yeah,
go ahead. That about 3.5 weeks ago, Elise Slotkin, one of the 6 in the now famous video, gave a speech where she said that we are just weeks away from the National Guard shooting people in the street, and all it's going to take is one violent incident to start the ball rolling. Wow. She's not Jostradamus. I am. So maybe she knew something ahead of time that told her this might happen.
What, Joe, I was going to say, acquisition of knowledge prior to an event does not mean that the future. That means she knows what's going to happen.
God, I know.
I know. I'm just saying. It's like
anymore.
It's not even funny. All right. So we talked about the Sedition 6, which is kind of like ground zero for this whole thing, and we didn't get a chance. I think we talked about it, but we didn't show it. And I want to kind of use this as a kind of stepping off point into this broader. So Fayetteville, North Carolina, this country is in the middle of a Marxist revolution. And right now the left is doing a full court press, going to work on the military, sowing seeds of dissent, chaos, and confusion. Did you go airborne just to pull security for ICE? Not what you signed up for.org, right? So this is the campaign that is going on around U.S. military bases to recruit soldiers into this. So Cynical Publicist tags Data Republican and says, hey, if you're not too busy, can you figure out where the money comes from? So she comes back and says, the footer says Win Without War, which links to a 501c4, which seems to have been named New Security Action in the past. Open Society seems to be its main backer. Open Society, where we heard that name before.
Something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at that blue one that says Win Without War. There's a legal disclaimer on there. Information provided on this website is not intended to constitute legal advice. All information and content are for general information purposes only. They're saying that because it does constitute legal advice. They know they're about to advise you to do something illegal, and they had to put that in there to try and protect themselves. Side note, it does not.
Yeah, the problem is like, you know, and I talked to a lawyer the other day about this on, you know, just in DMs, and he basically said, well, what they can say is like, oh, well, I didn't tell him to do that. I just said that is just my opinion.
That's an option. Yeah.
Right. Exactly right. And so this is like, you know, if you know, like I were to do this, then they could say, well, we didn't advise him to do that, you know. Well, he says he saw this there. Well, that's just our opinion, right? This is not legal advice. So about FACE, Veterans Against War, GI Rights Hotline. These are all other kind of partners to this. National Lawyers Guild, infamous for supporting Antifa, historical extreme left. And so she's got all kinds of stuff that is attached to this. Eric Eikenberry, government relations director, him in his bio there. And then you've got this beauty here. Win Without War statement on Senate failure to pass war powers resolution to prevent unauthorized strikes in Venezuela. And so, you know, they went after that. Let's see. Let's see. Just kind of going through. She had some other stuff, but I think maybe that's from 2 days ago. There was another post that I saw that she put up that was related to this that was pretty darn good, but I'm not finding it. International Rescue Committee. I tell you, man, this gal is prolific. I feel like there's like 5 people behind her account, but that's what you get when you're dealing with an autistic person. Talk about weaponized autism. Anyway, so yeah, this is literally an organized group that is trying to get soldiers and people who work for the government to push back on the lawful orders given by saying, hey, those might be unlawful orders. You never know. You gotta push back. And then this next one I thought was really interesting when I saw this, right? So this kind of goes beyond this, right? And this is, you know, Tim Pool's thing for the longest time has always been no. That's the James Wood one. You went back up. This is the next one after the David Republican one. Tim Pool's always been like Civil War win, like, you know, I mean, you know, good on you for looking towards the worst case scenario for the United States, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that he jumps at, you know, is not as big a deal. But the funny thing is like, I think this one is definitely, this is the you're not what you signed up for.org. So this is the actual website on the billboard. It says, And Tim says, holy fuck, look at the website. This is overtly illegal. I don't want to say outright civil war, but he does say civil war when there's a good chance foreign actors are doing this too. Sec war needs to stop this. And so basically, not what you signed up for. You saw the billboard. You have questions. You're not alone. But first, here are proactive steps you can take to reduce risk. Be sure to access. Okay, so Joe, these are calls to action, things they're telling people to do, right? Because you haven't received an illegal order yet, maybe, but you want to be ready when you finally get that illegal order, so you could resist, right? Be sure to access
the definition of sedition in 18 U.S. Code 2387.
That's exactly what I was teeing that up for you on that one. Here's what they're telling soldiers to do. Be sure to access resources from a personal device, not a military or government computer. Email account, phone, or Wi-Fi network. Use an encrypted Proton Mail email account. Use the Signal app for encrypted text and calls. Use a virtual private network like NordVPN. So they literally... Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, they're literally encouraging sedition here, encouraging espionage, actually. Not sedition, but espionage. But I want to point out that aside from Proton Mail, both Signal and NordVPN are known to have already been compromised.
Yeah, I was going to say,
either this is a legitimate attempt at sedition, or this is a government-sponsored fishing expedition to see who does these things. Either way, this website should have been taken down almost immediately the minute the federal government got wind of it. This right here is 100% illegal.
Let's see. This might be excellent. Fine. I think there is National Lawyers Guild issued a document about refusing illegal orders on 11 November. Now they are partnered with Win Without War to advise seditious adjacent behavior on billboards. And Win Without War has multiple congressional liaisons on their About page. Is their infamous supporter. Let's see.
I'm not going to lie. Thinking about that as a fishing expedition makes me want to open one of these up as a fishing expedition and then just send all the people who send me shit straight to their fucking commanding officer.
Except you're not being a government agent. You are not exempt from prosecution for putting up the website.
I guess that's true. But yeah, like imagine that though. Just like send it straight to their CO.
See, this is actually where Julian Assange got himself into legal trouble.
Yeah.
When he encouraged them to put stuff on flash drives. He should have never said that.
Yeah.
So
Win Without War is a fiscally sponsored project for the Center of International Policy. According to the website, it stands with senators and insists it's not seditious to remind service members of the oath they swore. Okay. Yeah, you keep telling yourself that. Let's see. Wow. And so Data Republican goes down that rabbit hole and says, wow, Open Society Fund, Rockefeller Brothers, the Koch Foundation, Carnegie Corporation. They've got a lot of grants from the Ford Foundation, too. Ford tends to donate to more controversial cause through DAF so that you have to go to their grants database directly. That's all the big three plus Open Society and Koch. You know, whoever said the Koch brothers were on our side? I mean, like that was like literally for one campaign under George Bush. And let's be honest, looking back on it now, we know they weren't on our side.
The who?
The Koch brothers. Remember that the Democrats used to always say, "Oh, the Koch brothers are," you know. So yeah, that's. So, you know, General Flynn's been, he's the guy that, you know, a lot of people were saying it's kind of like Chicken Little, right? Oh, the world, the sky's falling, But he hasn't been wrong. He may not have, his warnings may not have been well timed, but he's never been wrong. Let's see. Whether it's the protest industrial complex run by the left-wing activist groups and bankrolled by the unhinged progressive billionaires, nonstop leftist corporate media campaigns designed to delegitimize Trump and sway sentiment polls, judicial warfare waged by radical judges, constant orchestrated scandals and leaks, the involvement of foreign-aligned NGOs, student-driven pressure groups, regime change operation is orchestrated. All of these elements function as interconnected spokes in a much larger wheel. A regime change or operation orchestrated by leftist billionaire kings and Democrats. The latest example, the scripted Seditious Six video urging military to refuse illegal orders without specifying any, fits textbook color revolutionary pressure messaging. It reads as if the script were lifted straight from a CIA playbook for overseas regime change operations, using pressure campaigns so obvious that it's not even the average American can recognize what's going on. And they seek to delegitimize the campaign against Trump, frame normal authority as illegitimate, attempt to mobilize military disobedience, attempt to trigger defection in the military and intelligence world. Recall the riots in Los Angeles earlier this year that were manufactured by leftist groups that were from a pressure campaign to sow chaos against the administration and sway sentiment polls. Yet it backfired. New York Times bestselling author Peter Schweitzer, along with his lead researcher and others such as Mike Benz, have been moving the needle with their observation and bombshell findings on how dark money NGO ecosystem operates to conduct color revolutions, operations not only abroad but increasingly inside the U.S. since Trump's 2016 election. Research the term color revolution has risen to the highest level since the BLM, Marxist BLM riots in 2020. So here's some key points from Flynn's remarks. Seditious conspiracy and military incitement. Flynn accuses the Seditious Six of releasing a scripted video encouraging military personnel to disobey lawful orders from Trump if they deem them unethical, calling it textbook sedition. You know, Joe, just like you said, under 18 USC 2387. He highlights Representative Slotkin, former CIA officer, as a key figure, suggesting the group is a part of a larger pre-planned operation involving NGOs, the State Department, intelligence agencies. Flynn questions who authored the script and demands investigation into potential mutiny incitement. A history of lawfare of deep state operations. Flynn recounts a timeline of illegal investigations and lawfare against Trump since the 2016 victory, including the Russia hoax, impeachment, and recent probes. He frames this as unrestricted warfare by the deep state operatives and designed to create chaos and shield figures like Obama from accountability. He warns that opponents will not roll over, will escalate with new plans. Flynn emphasizes that Trump must publicly confront the seditious conspiracy to rally supporters when protect National Guard troops and prevent violence. He stresses transparency to counter the double standard, the justice system, and warns of risks if Republicans in Congress delay cabinet confirmations or fail to act decisively. You know, one of the ways that you know that this dark money in the NGO sphere are really part of this is because the mainstream media has zero motivation to report on any of this. I haven't heard after all the facts, like this is like reams and reams and reams and reams of information has come out. None of the regular mainstream media have reported on any of it.
Well, the other thing is, too, is they keep saying, but they didn't tell them that. They told them only to disobey unlawful orders. That's ignoring the fact. The fact is this, that in order to meet the elements of proof for 2387, no one has to listen to what you said. You just have to say it.
Yeah, right? Exactly right.
The crime is encouraging it. That doesn't mean anyone ever did it. You just have to say, hey, you should not follow that guy's orders. There's no designation in there as to whether or not it's disobeying lawful or disobeying unlawful orders. It just says encouraging military members to disobey an order.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's kind of like incitement. Somebody doesn't have to go out and do something for incitement to be incitement.
You just have to say it. The same thing they tried to charge Donald Trump for, by the way. Right? They tried to charge Donald Trump for incitement to riot for a statement that was nowhere near as bad as the one these 6 people made. And again, when they tied "don't give up the ship" to it, they made it a combat thing. They made it a war thing.
Yeah. Here, I'll just have one last quote here. People need to understand this as Operation succeeds. Things will move quickly. Trump will be removed from the scene almost immediately. Elite defection isn't an early warning sign of an overthrow. It's the final stage before one. Data Republican told us, adding, "This is why the seditious six must face the most severe penalties the law allows." 100%.
You know, I seem to recall a guy writing a book about a coup against Donald Trump, and he's in the chat. So
I know, right? Yeah, it's almost like it's like they're like, Blaine wrote the perfect plan. We just have to get to the point where we can overthrow Donald Trump, and then
I'll say this, Blaine, if you're still listening, JD Vance would have been way better than Mike Pence. So
Mike Pence, exactly right. Can we retcon to make? Because
let's issue a new edition of the books with JD Vance.
Well, revised edition. What's funny is that we get the worst version of Alex, right, and we get the best version of Mike Pence. So we two things we may never get in this time.
Real life.
All right. I think I got one more here, and then we can call it a day.
I wonder if AOC has been given a copy of the Blue Dawn books and was like, "Dang, he really nailed me," and he captured the essence of me in this book.
Wouldn't it be awesome if somebody went up to her and asked her if she could sign it? Hey, you're a prominent figure in the kind of the overthrow of the patriarchy and blah blah blah. Like say it like it's some sort
Make
of
her a big fan.
who was asking. Yeah.
Durno 2 is right though. Blaine is starting to look sus. Just as sus as Mark Sibley. So,
well, I remember a conversation we had. I don't know, it's about 2 years ago, or whatever. And I kind of said, Mike Pence or whatever. And he goes, "Yeah, I know." It's kind of like, he's like, you start where you start.
Like almost immediately after his book came out, he was like, "I shouldn't have used Mike Pence."
All right, this is the final one over here. Former armored prosecutor tells Jen Psaki administration officials will be held accountable for following unlawful commands from Donald Trump. So, I mean, this is them already getting ready to count coup, right?
But none of them can point to a single unlawful command.
You're right. That's
and
right.
Just because a district judge says it is, doesn't mean it actually is.
100%. Former Army Judge Advocate General Jen Kirchner said that the Trump administration will be held accountable. Actually, you know what? We've got the video here. Let's see what this guy says.
You know what's funny is they say former Judge Advocate General as if there's only one, right? As if that's the main office. He's not the main. He was not that. He was just a JAG officer.
Well, here's the other thing, right? They're saying it former Judge Advocate General. What they should do then is like Lieutenant Colonel retired or Major retired or Colonel retired. And then that way it's clear that he's not a general. But the way they write this here is they put it as his rank.
I'll remind everyone that we abbreviate JAG officer as JAGOff.
Thank you. I was just going to say we have a term for this. It's a term of art. We should be using it.
What do you think as a lawyer? What do you think the consequences should be for people who are abiding by following these steps from the commander in chief when they seem to be complete overreaches of power?
They're following unlawful commands from Donald Trump. And if you're committing offenses and your defense is going to be, I was just following orders, that didn't work out so well at Nuremberg. It certainly didn't work out so well for Lieutenant Calley when he, engaged in mass murder, the My Lai massacre.
Guy who never went to jail.
And, Pete Hegseth just doing whatever Donald Trump tells him to do, like initiating a criminal investigation that could result in a court-martial of Senator Kelly for simply stating accurately what the military law provides, or Kash Patel's FBI opening criminal probes of members of Congress for speaking the truth. That is something that will someday, when the rule of law comes back into the light of day, will have to be tackled. They'll have to be held accountable for those abuses.
It's going to be accounting for all of this and remembering all of it. Glenn Kirshner, thank you so much for being
Both
here.
of them are basically saying that we're going to be coming for heads after we win this, right?
Couple of things. Derna 2 nails it. This guy is using a position of trust and authority to frighten troops into disobeying lawful orders. He's inciting mutiny, 100%. By the way, Kirshner's highest rank attained, I just looked this up, is captain. If that's as far as you went in the JAG Corps, you're not a very good lawyer. I'm just going to point that out.
We all agree action has to be taken here. I just have to ask, at what point is Trump going to stop taking a foot bath in the Rubicon and actually cross the fucker?
I don't know. And what exactly is crossing the Rubicon, right?
Well, no, it's already been done. No.
Everyone,
Crossing the Rubicon for him was running for office again. The second he did that, he marked himself for whatever they had to do to remove him.
But that's just it. Like he doesn't see it that way. I don't think.
Here's the problem: that everyone in America thinks that there will be a long run up to whatever is going to happen with this. There isn't going to be. This is going to be like Guinea-Bissau was over in like 2 hours, right?
I was just going to say the long run up. What do we call the last 10 years?
Well, that's true. That's true. Nobody thinks. Everyone believes the nothing ever happens paradigm, right? Things are happening. You're just not choosing to interpret them, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Jim tells you. Sorry, guys. By the way, I just didn't see these super chats. So, I mean, if they were $10 super chats, I would have seen them. Anyway, I'm sorry. Jim tells you for $4.99 says the research Laura Loomer did on this on the family who sponsored him seems relevant. She's claiming they fled the country. Yeah, I have not looked into that. I did see her original post. I just can't keep up with everything.
I was just waiting for a more relevant and not crazy source to report the same thing.
Yeah,
I used to love Laura Loomer in the very beginning, but that girl is crazy.
Yeah, she is the don't sleep with crazy like epitome right there.
Yeah, her and Candace Owens drink from the same well. I'm just
that being said, I'm really interested to see. We just need
that doesn't make her information invalid. I just want to see it from a more credible source than Laura Loomer.
Yeah. Let's see. Lance Corporal Veteran for $5 says people better start believing civil wars are possible because they're in the start of one. Yeah, 100%. The setting of conditions has been going on for quite a while, just like Watcher said. But here's the thing: it's the frog in the pot problem, right? When the temperature just comes up not too high. Peter Shays helicopter tours for $1 over on Rumble says they're openly stating the left is coming to kill everyone this time. Yeah. Well, that's just it, right? They're not just going to go after Donald Trump. They're going to go after everybody.
Look, I like to use the normie test. My parents are massive normies. They just are. It's my dad's into sports ball. Name a flavor, he's into it. It's who they are, and I've been trying to inform them about what's actually going on and who's saying what, and they've seen the left calling for those kinds of things. They all see it. But the normalcy bias is as follows. The 60s was crazy, and we came back from that. American politics is just a pendulum. It goes left, and then it goes right, and we'll always swing back, so don't worry about too much about it.
Here's the thing. In the 60s, it was a very, very small minority that was doing all the crazy stuff. That Overton window has shifted so far that it's not just a small group anymore, right?
Yeah. Well, and they're government supported this time. So
they also didn't have the internet and everything being so technologically intertwined that all it takes is one minor nudge to upset the entire apple cart.
Yeah, and again, they didn't have infiltration and support from within the agencies, which they now have in massive, massive quantities.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to say that it's a busy week when Imran Khan may have been killed by the Pakistani military or the government, and we don't even have time to talk about it because talk about something that could unleash a fucking firestorm of shit in Pakistan. That's it. And we haven't talked much about the ongoing discussion of the peace deal with Ukraine, and it looks like Europe might be cutting sling load on Zelensky with some of the lack of support they're giving him. So it's just one of those kind of things. Like, there is so much shit going on out there that when it happens close at home, we have to focus on it, right? We always used to kind of talk about domestic. Friday became domestic every day. We had domestic stuff every day because the shit has started to accelerate, I think. And they set the conditions during the Biden administration, and they're coming for us. Watcher, we did such a good job of plugging his stuff. I thought we could throw this up on the screen if you would, in the private chat. Yep. Blaine's this is a tweet from Blaine right around the time the show started. I can't wait for this book to be released. America's second Civil War escalates, fighting in St. Louis, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and finally invade Arizona and California. So this is Brush Fires of Freedom, book 6 in the Blue Dawn series. If you have not read the Blue Dawn series, this is a great opportunity to jump on, because I don't know if this is the last one, but I think it is the last one, or maybe it's the penultimate one. He might have one more left after this, but this is a great series, and it's very prescient to what I think we may be going through in the near future. Do I think that it'll ever get as bad as what he predicts in this? No, I don't think so. That being said, it's pretty fucking bad in this, and it's kind of good to see what a worst case scenario would look like if you are going to face some of this stuff. Joe, looking to the weekend, what do you think?
I really think you're going to see some Venezuela action over the next 48 hours. I could be wrong though, but you're going to see something there. We've been doing a slow build. The NOTAM was important. Trump's statement was important. He can't resist tipping his hand. So I think something is probably going to happen. That's what I would watch. I would also watch for some more violence over the weekend related to National Guard deployments, because the left needs to keep that narrative going. They need to shift the conversation from the knucklehead who did it to a bigger problem. And the only way to do that is more violence towards the National Guard.
Yeah. Watcher?
Yeah. I'd look for the left to be a little bit off balance, at least for a couple days, while they're trying as hard as they can to figure out what their narrative is to shift and deflect the blame. Whether that's going to be, they went with this whole, well, if they didn't want to get shot, maybe they shouldn't have been dressed that way.
Exactly.
Excuse.
Right.
But that doesn't seem to be panning out well for them. They won't acknowledge that it didn't pan out well. They'll just immediately shift to a new tactic. I don't know. This weekend, apart from Venezuela, it seems kind of. Oh, actually, I will tell you one thing to look out for. A thing to watch out for is going to be rioting and violence taking place amongst the various different groups of Afghans in various different U.S. outposts, which are not Afghanistan, that were still being trickled and processed in. Because as soon as those people get word that they're not coming over, shit's going to get crazy.
Yeah. That's a good point. Guys, it's almost impossible to know what the fuck's going on out there. I do agree with Joe. I think that Venezuela is going to happen sooner rather than later. I would definitely. I don't think he would pull the trigger on that over the Christmas break. So it'll either be in the next 2 weeks or it'll be after in January. That NOTAM is up till February. So that gives you a kind of a general idea. Now, granted, if they decide to hold off, they could just extend it. That being said, every month you stay longer it's more expensive than the previous month. So I wouldn't look for that to last too much longer. So that's really where I'm at with that. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on out there in the world. If you guys see stuff that you want us, a lot of people have kind of mentioned things and DM'd me about some stuff and tagged me and Joe and Watcher and stuff. So we see all that. So please continue. If there's something that you see out there that you think we need to include in the show, make sure you are tagging us on it, because let's be honest, Joe's busy, I'm busy, Watcher is busy. We are all on the internet way more than we should be. That doesn't mean we see everything. So be our eyes and ears out there. If you see something, tag it. If you're in the fan chat, drop it in the fan chat. I get a lot of leads there because it's a fast place I can scan and see stuff.
Hey, that reminds me, I want to do a follow-up on something. A couple weeks ago, we ran a story on the killing of Christians in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
And we all were trying to make the point that this has been going on for a long time. And the media has been telling everyone, no, this is something new and it's not unusual. Well, I shared, and I tagged Scott and Watcher in this, I shared an excerpt on X from a book written in 2006 by H. John Poole, America's foremost thinker on small unit tactics, where he mentioned way back in 2006 that over 200,000 Christians had already been killed in Nigeria at that point, and it was ongoing.
Yeah.
So it is not new. We are probably a better source for truth than the media, and we're not trying to like oh, we're all great, but we're being more honest to you than what you're actually getting from in the media.
The one thing I'll say about that, Joe, is that we don't always get it right, but I would rather be wrong, because let's be honest, when we make predictions, it's generally pessimistic.
Right.
I would much rather us be 100% wrong and be like, well, Joe, look at that. They ended the war in Ukraine. No more people are getting killed. Gosh, I didn't think that was going to happen, but thank God it does. Or, oh my God, there wasn't a leftist revolution in America.
Oh my God, we didn't invade Venezuela. Cool.
Oh my God, we didn't invade Venezuela. I mean, so just remember, we're not here to Joe's not trying to sell anything because you need this in order to survive. You need that period today, right?
Yeah.
Joe could monetize this way more by leaning into the doomer stuff, but he's not. He's giving you a hopeful blueprint to how to be prepared for today, tomorrow, and 20 years from now, if nothing bad ever happens. Just remember that.
And listen, the whole world was telling you in February of 2022 that Russia was not actually going to invade Ukraine, and we were like, "Oh, yes, they are."
Yeah, and here's the facts that we can point to that tells us exactly why. So I stand by our track record any day of the week. All right, guys, that's all we got for today. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Watcher. Chat, you guys were awesome. Man, you guys were very generous today. Peter says helicopters for another $1. Says, is it true that Zelensky's cabinet is being raided over corruption? His chief of staff was just arrested. Yeah, I think that's happening.
It is true. And their chief, apparently, according to Jim, their chief negotiator was just picked up too. So,
same guy.
Oh, it's the same guy. Guy. Here's the thing. The Europeans are basically done with the corrupt Zelensky regime. Zelensky may stay on, but they do that more so they don't look bad versus keeping him from looking bad. Because as soon as the peace deal is done and this war is over, he is out of there. And like we said, he'll probably end up in London or in Paris or one of these countries, maybe in the French countryside, in some, I don't know, some place like that.
Let me real quick talk about two more quick things from the chat. Major Sarge, it was more than one IL-76 candidate that landed there. It was several. There was a lot of stuff dropped off, and we do know that SAMs were dropped off. CWSB, only if everyone will allow me to have Matt, NC Scout, do my supplement commercials in Alex Jones's voice.
That's right. All right. All right, guys. That's all I got. Thank you for showing up, chat. You guys are awesome. Please, if you would go be so kind as to take the share button and throw it out there on X or Facebook or whatever your social media of choice is.
My bad, Scott.
Oh, no worries, brother. And like the button, hit that like button. I know it's for some of you it doesn't work. Let's see. There we go. Only 22 likes on I mean, that's come on, guys. We can do better than 22 on yeah. Thanks for nothing. Let's see, what are we at on YouTube? 42. So it's sad,
but I still rhymed. All right. Anyway, I'm sorry. My bad.
When YouTube is outperforming Rumble, it's bad because our diehards are on Rumble. So, all right. Yeah. Well, beggars can't be choosers. All right, guys. We will be back on Monday. Thank you for being here. As always, stay safe.